Okay guys, welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. This is the penultimate one for 2016. Hi. It's actually, I'm making it quite late tonight. I finished work and my wife said we need to nip down to the shops for a couple of things. 3 hours later, getting dragged down the shops, buying late Christmas presents, buying messages. Absolutely losing the will to live. But anyway, I'm back again. I've been fed and watered. Just about to watch something nice and Christmassy, i.e. The Walking Dead Season 7. I'm just going to start watching that. But so it's Friday night. I finished my work. That's me off until the 4th of January. So that's, I don't know how many days that is, 12 days, something like that, whatever it is. Decent wee break. Quite looking forward to it. Looking forward to being off. The weather's absolutely horrendous outside, it really is, but you know what, we're into winter. But the good thing is, that's the longest day now past, which means it's going to start getting lighter, which is always good. Always look forward to the lighter nights coming in. So yeah, what have I been doing with myself this week? Not a great deal, I don't think. Pardon me. Not a great deal. I gave blood on yesterday, in fact, Thursday, that's right. Gave blood. Giving blood, I've been doing that now I've been doing it on and off since 1996. But I would say probably the last 4 or 5 years, probably more than that, maybe the last 7 years, I've been every 3 months. So I think I'm up to 38 donations now. I really enjoy it. I wish I'd kind of started giving it when I was younger. It was one of these things that just never ever crossed my mind to actually do. But you know what, it's something I think that anybody who is able to do it should do it. Because the thing that I didn't realise is people seem to think that blood, when you give blood, they can put it in a freezer and it just sits there for, indefinitely. But that's not the case. Blood does actually, it's only got a sort of a short shelf life. Says Sean Connery. Yeah, it's got an expiry date in it. So after a while, they've got to throw your blood out. So you always have to, they rely on people constantly giving. Now the thing is that there's an awful lot of people, in fact I would probably say I know far less people that give blood than don't give it, if that makes sense. What I mean to say is there's by far the biggest percentage of people I know don't give blood. I know if you're under a certain weight, if you're on medication, whatever, there's numerous reasons why you can't give blood. But if you're fit and healthy, then please go and do it, because it's one of these things we all take for granted, the NHS. We all automatically assume that, God forbid, something happens, a loved one needs a blood transfusion. What would happen if you took a loved one to the hospital and says, oh sorry, I've not got any blood for them, they're going to die? And that is the reality. They absolutely need people to give blood. And I'm not talking about this because I'm, put myself in some pedestal, not at all, but I enjoy giving blood. It says it takes an hour your time every 3 months. How much is that? There's some people genuinely scared of needles. I don't particularly like the needle, but I can't honestly say, in all the times that I've given blood, I can't honestly say I've ever actually seen the needle. You just look away and then they put a wee thing over your arm. But yeah, it's something that people really should do, So if for anyone watching this video, you've never done it, I would say please at least think about it. Do it once. If it's not for you, then that's absolutely fine. But as I said, I get a lot of pleasure out of doing it. You get a bit of laugh when you're there, and you get a chocolate biscuit and a cup of tea as well. So what's not to like? So that was that. The only downside to me giving blood, which is a pain in the arse, and it's after you've given blood. Basically you're giving, I think the average person's got 8 pints. You're giving away 1/8 your blood. Now apparently it takes us 3 months for the body to fully reproduce all the lost cells. They say you should not exercise for about 2 weeks. Now, given that I'm running pretty well, I get out every couple of days for a run. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, but what I'm going to do is, I mean, it's obviously Friday today. I gave it yesterday. I've got a park run tomorrow, which is 3 miles. I'm actually going to dress up as Santa Claus. Don't need the beard. Well, I did shave the beard off, so yeah, I bought a Santa's outfit from Asda about 10 years ago. Never ever used it. It's been sitting in the loft. Every time I go up to get the Christmas decorations down, I always see this Santa outfit. So yeah, I thought to myself, why don't I do the park run, dress up as Santa, a bit of laugh, although it's to be bloody horrible weather-wise. So anyway, that's that. So yeah, gave blood. Nothing else. I've been playing the Nvidia Shield a fair bit. Still really enjoying that. But nothing much. I've not had much a chance to make many videos. I'll need to get back into that. But yeah, anyway, excuse me, I've not got any, I don't have any topics at all to talk about. The only thing that I read just before I started making this video is apparently the Vita, the Spectrum, or is it Sinclair Vita, whatever it's called, basically the handheld Spectrum. I've read that they've now come up with an update to say that it's going to be getting released. I think it's February time. So I'm glad to hear that people are eventually going to get something, because I think there was a lot of people were thinking they weren't going to get anything for their money, which would be pretty shitty. And you know, that's the reason I've kind of stopped giving to Kickstarter, just because it is too risky. But yeah, hopefully these guys will get something for their money, and you know, with any luck, it'll be something pretty good. So I've got I've got a big bundle of questions from some really nice people, which is excellent. Starting off, I've got Down the Rabbit Hole, Kev. Bangkokian 1967 just showcased a new version of Battlezone VR, where you can play the game with classic Battlezone graphics. I confess it tempts me to purchase a PSVR just to play that mode. Has anything tempted you to get back into PSVR? You changed your mind and got an Nvidia Shield again, so you might change your mind about PSVR. Aye, absolutely, Kev. I mean, yeah, I know I did say at the start I was very reluctant to get on board with PSVR, because I was a bit concerned that it's going to be one of these things that it's a novelty and it dies a death. There's not many games coming out for it. I'm not ready to dive in quite yet. I mean, I don't have the money for it for starters. I mean, you need to. I know you can use it obviously in a basic PS4, but and for what I gather, I mean, quite a few of my YouTuber mates have got it, and you know, including Bangkokian, and I know Lactobacillus Prime's got it as well. It seems to be going down pretty well. Excuse me. I think it's still early days though. I mean, it's only been out, what, I don't know, not even 6 months. I still do think it's early days to see whether it's really going to catch on. I'm not going to be buying one in the next 6 months anyway. You know, if it's still selling and there's still games coming out for it, then I may contemplate picking one up next year. But what I'm kind of thinking, I was a bit reluctant, or in fact I wasn't really interested in picking up a PS4. Is it Pro? Is that what they call it? The PS4 Pro, I think it is. But having seen some screenshots of games running on it, it does look pretty nice. It really does. They're saying that I think you do need a 4K TV to really get the sort of best out of it. But what I may do is, if they eventually, and I think it will happen, if they eventually bundle a PS Pro with the PSVR, I think I may think about it. But it's not going to be for a long time. It's definitely going to be well into next year, I would imagine, Kev. But I mean, I've mentioned this before. I mean, I've got the Samsung VR. I've kind of stopped using it. I don't know why. I think I mean, I was its biggest fan. I really was. I was just going on and on and on about it to everybody that would care to listen, and even to people that didn't want to listen to me. I went on about how wonderful it is, and I still stand by that. I still stand by it's a fantastic experience. But I think regardless of whether it's the VR or whether it's the Vive, I always call it a Hive, or the Oculus Rift, I still think it's one of these things where you need to be in the mood for it. I think it's too tiring to play something like that for any length of time. I mean, my mate George, he's just picked up an Oculus Rift, and he loves it. One thing, and I don't mean this. Well, in fact, maybe Ian's going to buck the trend and say I'm talking nonsense. I mean, my mate George, he lives in his own. I tend to think that it's the kind of thing that it would be all right if you were a single guy, house to yourself. You're not bothering anybody. You can sit there with your headset on and nobody's going to bother. I think maybe the fact that I share a house with another two people, I don't know. I just tend to think it's because it's the type of thing. It's a very, very antisocial way to use a computer. I don't mean that bad, but it is. You're sitting with a headset on. You can't see anybody. You've got your headphones and that kind of thing on. I don't know, but yeah, I'll wait and see. If the price comes down, I may think about it. But right now, it's not something on my radar, Kev. But yeah, watch this space. We'll see what happens anyway. But as usual, Kevin, thanks for your question, mate. I do appreciate it. Second one, Mr. Batman. Computer magazines, what are your favourites? Now, well, I'll just read the whole question. What do they mean to you? Do you still own them? Do you make do with scans? What are your memories associated with them? I always looked forward eagerly to each issue of my favourite magazine and always raced to my newspaper shop excitedly when they hit the streets. I know you're a Zap man and loved that and Crash too. I remember my mates and I taking every word in them as gospel. Did all your game purchases hinge on review scores or did you take them with a pinch of salt? As far as, I mean, I don't, like most people, I've not bought a computer magazine. You know what, that's utter garbage. I was going to say I've never bought a computer magazine and I would say probably 6-7 years. But the one magazine I do still buy, and I've had it since issue 1, is Retro Gamer. I mean, I bought the very, very first one, the original one when it first came out. And I think it's been going for 10 years now, which is just incredible. I'm running out of space to put the damn things. And I have said on numerous occasions, I sometimes wish they would stop making it so I can then say, right, I've got a full collection. And I mean, I've probably got, when it first came out, it would take me maybe, I would read the thing cover to cover in a couple of days. Now, I reckon I've probably got about a year's worth, which I simply haven't read. They're all still wrapped up, brand new, never been read, and I will read them. But I find I spend less and less time reading the things, and I find there's less and less articles in the thing that I actually want to read. It's probably a bit like me doing my Friday Waffle. You can only talk about so much. I mean, I know there's literally thousands and thousands of games out there, so they could probably keep producing this magazine for another 10 years, but there is less that I'm interested in reading. But that is the only magazine that I actually buy. I don't buy any magazines. I mean, even running magazines I don't buy. They're just too expensive. I mean, you're paying like £6-7 for a magazine. You know what I mean? What's that all about when you can get up to date, more current stuff on the internet for completely free? So, yeah, I assume you're when you're saying what are your favourite magazines, you're referring to the old ones. But back in the day, what did I get? Yeah, obviously Zap magazine. I mean, Zap, when it first came out, I bought the first issue. It was the Bible. You know, this was before the internet. There was no such thing as being able to go online and read reviews. So other than word of mouth, your mate telling you that a game was good, you relied heavily on magazines, and in my case it was Zap 64. I mean, the guys that did the magazine, there was Julian Clary, Julian Rignall, Gary Penn, and Gary Liddon, and then obviously there was others followed. I mean, these guys were they were hardcore gamers. They were hardcore video gamers, and they didn't hold back in saying exactly what they thought. So if they thought a game was shit, they would tell you it was shit. So I respected them like most people, and so if they said a game was good, you could pretty much guarantee it was good. Don't get me wrong, there was 1 or 2 games that they said was good. I can't remember offhand, and I wasn't overly keen on them, but that's more or less just down to the actual genre of game rather than, you know, the quality being iffy. But yeah, back then I literally took whatever they said, I took as being read, and that was what I kind of based my purchases on before the magazines came out. It was all about going to the computer shop, going to the wee computer shop, and just looking at the back of the cassette inlays. And sometimes you would get a great game, and other times you'd buy a really, really crap game, but you had nothing to base it on at all. So I loved Zap 64. I used to buy computer and video games as well, which was good, although again there was a lot of times there were systems that they had games on and I wasn't interested in them. Later 16-bit magazines, what did I like? The Games Machine was an excellent magazine. It was really good. I think that was Gary Penn actually came out with that one, but it didn't last that long. Games Machine, another one I really liked was Ace. That was, again, it was a multi-format magazine like Games Machine. Then when I got the SNES, I started picking up magazines like Super Play, which is a beautiful magazine. It's got lots and lots of hand-drawn sort of manga style stuff. Really, really pretty looking. The only problem with Super Play is they would review games which, you know, were only available in import, which are maybe 60, 70 quid. So a lot of the games that they used to look at, you know, I simply couldn't afford to buy. So there was that, and then obviously I moved across to the Amiga, Atari ST and Amiga, and it was Amiga Power, and I used to buy Amiga Format because they used to give away discs, and then later on they gave away CDs. Amiga Format was quite a dry sort of magazine. You know, they used to feature business software and hardware and that kind of stuff. They did have reviews, but it was very, very kind of clinical, whereas Amiga Power, it had my favourite games journalist, and that's Stuart Campbell, fellow Scotsman, comes from Bathgate, which is about 2 minutes away from me. So I loved Amiga Power. It was sort of written more like a Zap magazine. The guys weren't afraid to say a game was crap, so you could pretty much trust them what they said. Then you got stuff like, I used to buy Edge magazine, but even in the early days I found that it was very much up its own backside. It was just quite pretentious. You know, they would review a game and they would say it was crap or whatever, and I used to think to myself, wait a minute, we're talking about a video game here, they're talking about it like it's real life, you know. I just think they became far too pretentious, and I kind of quickly moved away from Edge. But that was the ones that I loved back in the day. But what did they mean to you? Well, I used to enjoy them. This is before the internet, so I used to love wallowing in a steaming hot bath and reading the latest magazine. Do you still own them? Absolutely. Back in the day when I had my C64, I had a full set. Well, I say I had a full set. I had a full set up to about probably 1987 when I got my Atari ST, so I stopped buying it then. I gave all the magazines away. I sold my C64 and I gave all my Zaps away at the same time. Wasn't interested in hanging on to them. You know, you never think about, people would say, why did you give them away? But, you know, when you look back then, you had no real reason to keep them. You know, you were wanting to move on to other stuff. But I've managed to build up a collection of Zaps. I must have about maybe 50 Zaps up in the loft. I've got loads of Sinclair users. I've got some Crash magazines. I don't think I've got any computer video games, so I've got quite a big bundle of old magazines. The problem is the amount of space they take up. So what I usually do if I'm up in the loft getting something down, I generally take a bundle of old magazines and then I'll read through them and then I'll stick them back in the loft again. So yeah, you can't beat a good computer magazine. What are your memories associated with them? Pretty much the same as yourself. I used to, you know, I can't remember, it was monthly obviously. It was, I don't know, the last Friday or something in the month. You used to know exactly when Zap magazine came out. I never ever subscribed to these things. And I would run up to John Menzies and buy it, and it was, you were just riveted, you know. You would sit in your bedroom, play some music on your hi-fi, bit of Howard Jones or Marillion, something like that, by Ultravox maybe, and you would just read it from cover to cover. Absolutely loved the magazines, you know. It was I used to enjoy reading the magazines just as much as I did actually playing the games as well. So what else are you saying here? Do you still own any? You're talking about scans. I I have got, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of magazines that I've got scanned. I'm always very, very grateful to the guys that actually spend their time and scan all these. I mean, I've got full sets of like Zap, C64s, not C64s, Amiga Powers, Amiga CU, all the classic magazines, Spectrum magazines, Atari magazines. The great thing is having the what do you call it, the iPad Pro. It's virtually A4 size, so when you put a PDF onto the iPad, it's almost like reading a magazine. But you can't take it in the bath. Well, I could, but I think it's a wee bit risky in case I dropped it. So yeah, superb. Right, so thanks for the question back. That's an excellent one. Next one, now I don't know whether I picked this guy up wrong. He's quite a regular subscriber. He always takes time to comment, which is brilliant. But he did put down, can you make it anonymous? So you know who I'm talking about. I don't know if I picked you up wrong, but anyway, I'm going to say this is by an anonymous subscriber. What three 8-bit, 16-bit programmers, coders, artists, musicians do you hold in the highest regard? 8-bit. I've got to say, I mean, they're not necessarily my favourite games. I've got to say, as far as 8-bit goes, Andrew Braybrook. I mean, I think he is probably, I would say he's probably about the best Commodore 64 programmer. I mean, all his games, what he achieved technically, stuff like Uridium, Paradroid, pardon me, I mean, Uridium is an astonishing game. It just, the speed of the game, the fluidity of the game, you know, the smoothness of it, it's just absolutely incredible. So it's not particularly my favourite game, I just find it too difficult. But as far as from a technical point of view, it's absolutely awesome. He never really made a bad game, although saying that, what's that game? Alley Cat, couldn't quite get on with that one at all. But yeah, Andrew Braybrook. The funny thing is, I was actually talking about him to somebody earlier on this week. I'm always on the lookout for people to take part in the Blind Mates Only. And I would absolutely kill to get Andrew Braybrook. But I've got a mate who's actually in the process of writing a book. He's been writing a book for a couple of years, all about the 8-bit sort of gaming gods. Let me give it the book away. And I was asking him, I says, have you had any contact details for Andrew Braybrook? And he says, no. He says, the guy apparently on Twitter, he only follows something like 10 people. I think he doesn't do interviews. I mean, he's never ever gone to any of these play events. He's obviously just the type of guy. I mean, the thing is, back in the day, I wouldn't say he was. I mean, Andrew did the diary of a game, the making of Paradroid. So he wasn't. You wouldn't say he was like shy back in the day, but since he's obviously kind of given up the scene, he's obviously maybe just doesn't want anything to do with the old video games that he made. Either that, or he's just really, really shy. He doesn't like talking about it. It's strange, but you know, I suppose everybody's different. A lot of the 8-bit programmers, they relish taking part in all these play events and getting interviewed. And I mean, Kevin Toms was a perfect example of that. You know what I mean? Which is fantastic. But yeah, Andrew Braybrook just seems to have, he's kind of chosen just to kind of go completely off the radar and almost doesn't want to talk about it. But so I don't think I've got any way of actually getting in touch with him. But yeah, as far as respecting what the guy did, he is right up there. He's probably one of the best 8-bit programmers that's ever lived, you know, especially in the C64. Another programmer who, again, I'm not a fan of every game, is Jeff Minter. Jeff has always done his own thing. He's never followed people. He always he comes up with his unique ideas for games. Some of his games are a bit out there. I mean, there was an infamous review of Mama Llama by the Zap guys, and they panned it and they said it was crap. I don't know what score they gave it. And Jeff, he used to write a column for Zap, and following the Zap guys' review and panning of the game, he kind of fell out with them, and I think he kind of badmouthed them a wee bit as well. But some of the games that Jeff's come up with, even back in the early days, your Matrix, Grid Runners, bloody hell, Revenging Mutant Camels, Attacking Mutant Camels, Incipital, Battle Axe, Iridus Alpha, Hover Bover, you know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, Jeff was able to do stuff with the C64 that other people just, I didn't think it was possible. I still stand by what I've said before. I think Jeff was able to get, stuff out of the SID chip, like sound effects that no one else could. I mean, yeah, maybe later on guys like Martin Galway and that kind of thing came along, but Jeff was able to irk the last bit of power out of the you know, the processor and the sound. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of all his games, but technically his games again were absolutely wonderful. So yeah, there's Jeff, there's Andrew Braybrook, another 8-bit programmer. Well, you're saying 8-bit, 16-bit programmer. 16-bit wise, I'm going to go for Sensible Software. Massive fan of Sensible Soccer, like a lot of people. John Hare, Chris Yates, what they were able to do with the Amiga was just astonishing. I mean, in fact, they made one of my favourite games in the C64. Again, a technical masterpiece, and that's Whizball. The graphics, the sound, and the sound was obviously Martin Galway. But the graphics, the gameplay, just incredible. Parallax, so polished. All the 16-bit, all the Amiga games, apart from Sensible Golf possibly, were all just works of genius. They really were. They may have not looked that great compared to, you know, Sensible Soccer, tiny wee graphics, but the playability, they just, you could tell these guys were gamers. You could tell they were making games that they wanted to play. And that's the same with Jeff Minter. Jeff Minter said that he makes games that he wants to play, and it's just a nice thing that other people want to play them as well. But Sensible Software, these guys are right up there. I think Chris Yates is the programmer, and I think it was John Hare who did the sort of level design. I think he did the graphics as well, actually. Musician wise, I mean, there's two for me that stand out. There's Rob Hubbard. Some of the music that he's done is just incredible. My favourite SID tune has got to be Monty on the Run. It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece. I mean, it's something like 10 minutes long. It's like the Bohemian Rhapsody of SID music. I know guys like Ben Dalglish, incredible what they've done as well. Is it Chris Hulsbeck, I think, as well. There's loads of amazing musicians. I says Rob Hubbard as well, but I've got to say Martin Galway, what he was able to make sound, he was able to get sound out of the SID chip that I just didn't think was possible. I mean, there's wee kind of guitar solo when you die in Whizball. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It really is. So yeah, there's loads of other really good programmers as well. But yeah, I've got to say Andrew Braybrook, Jeff Minter, Sensible Software, Rob Hubbard and Martin Galway. They're going to be my top kind of 3, 4, whatever it is I've picked. Bit of a negative question. This is still like Mr. Anonymous. A bit of a negative question, this one. What 3 consoles or home computers do you have least regard for, and what reason? I've mentioned this before. One console which I had, and I had an EverDrive for it, and I got rid of it, is the N64. I did have an N64 when it came out, so I could play Mario 64, and that blew my mind like everybody else. Subsequent games that came out in it, stuff like GoldenEye. Now, there's going to be people wanting to burn me at the stake for saying this, but I wasn't a fan of GoldenEye at all. I just thought the graphics are a bit shit. Even back in 1996, I thought the graphics looked a bit rubbish. I know it's about the playability, not just the graphics, but I got another N64 maybe 3-4 years ago. Then I got the what do you call it, the EverDrive cartridge, and you know what, it actually dawned on me maybe 2 years later. I thought, I can't remember the last time I actually switched it on. So I made a point of like trying to play it, and other than Mario 64, even like Mario Kart isn't a great version, I don't think. I'm not a big fan of the Zelda games. So, excuse me, I tried to play it, tried to play some games, and I just thought it had aged very, very badly. You know, the graphics. I know, excuse me, pardon me. Should actually do this before I have my dinner. I know the N64 doesn't really look that great on an LCD TV. Possibly on a what do you call it, a CRT, it may look not quite so bad, but I just think it looks pretty rubbish. But I didn't have any real affinity to any of the games either. So for that reason, I sold it, and I regret selling it. Sometimes I think to myself, I would like to have it because I like to collect. It's the one, well, in fact, there's two, which I'll tell you about in a second. There's two glaring omissions from my sort of collection. The N64, and the other one is a Nintendo machine. It's a Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. The NES did not sell that well in the UK. When it was out, I was still playing my C64. I remember seeing pictures of games in it, in computing video games, and I always thought it didn't look much better than from my Commodore 64. So I had no experience of playing it. I'd never played one, I'd never seen it, and I've got to say, even now, believe it or not, I have never played an NES. Yeah, I've got the games on emulation. I can play them on multiple systems. I've not played many games in it, but I have never ever had a shot of an original NES. And that's why I'm not even remotely interested in this new NES Mini thing that's selling for daft money. So yeah, the NES, N64, can't think of any other console-wise that what was it you actually said? Least regard for. Is there any computers that I've got no regard for? Probably not, because I like to pick up. I've got some computers which I own that are probably garbage, but I just like to have them. They're kind of quite nichey, quite obscure. So like I've got my what's it called, the Sword M5, which is a Japanese computer. Not got any way of playing any games in it. Got nothing for it, but I've bought it because it's quite like I say, it's quite a rare. But I'm saying it's rare. I don't think it didn't sell as well as the C64 or Spectrum, but I can't think of any computer that I would say not interested in. The only one, and it's possibly down to the fact that the space it takes up, and that's the Amstrad CPC 464. I did buy one a few years ago, and I had the big colour screen, and it's glorious. I mean, it's lovely. It really is nice with the monitor's excellent. But the problem I've got is I've got very, very little room in here. So I mean, I've got two TVs and I've got about 20 different systems connected to them. I don't have the space to put a standalone Amstrad monitor. So it's probably that reason that I don't own one, but I do have the GX4000, and some clever guys have converted a lot of the Amstrad games to run in that. So yeah, technically I do kind of have the ability to play them. But yeah, the Amstrad, and that was nothing to do with having no regard for it. But the NES and the N64, two machines. In fact, one last one I would say I don't have any regard for, although I did own one, and in fact I've still got it, but it doesn't work, is the Game Gear. When I did have it, or I do have it, but when it worked, the screen is absolutely abysmal. It is terrible, terrible, terrible screen. The fact that I can play all these games on, my Nvidia Shield and other handhelds, I don't see any reason why I would want to use a Game Gear. Modern technology gives you a far better experience than you ever got back in then. So anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Anonymous. You know who you are. Thanks for that. And lastly, I think there's a few here. Mr. Doug Scullery, fantastic name. Doug's been watching my channel for a few weeks now. In fact, he actually told me that he's he's on a bit of a Friday Waffle purge at the moment. He's not purge, Friday Waffle. Just watching the one after another. He said he'd started at the most recent one for last week, and I think he'd gone back as far as May 2016. You've still got another probably 2 years worth to watch if you want, Doug. If you're really that sick in the mind, you can. There's about, I don't know, another couple hundred there for you to watch. But Doug's asking, what are all the crap arcade games? Sorry, where are all the crap arcade games from the classic era, 1978 to 1985? In other words, how did the manufacturers, Namco, Atari, Nintendo, etc., manage to get it right almost every time with those early games? Think about all the crappy stuff released for the Spectrum C64. A lot of it was rubbish and you had to pick out the gems amongst the pebbles, so to speak. So how did the arcade companies manage to avoid producing loads of unsuccessful, unpopular games where they play tested for weeks and months prior to release? There was no rubbish early versions of Space Invaders or Galaxian or Pac-Man. They hit the bullseye first time every time. How? Christ, I wish I knew, Doug. Well, firstly, you're saying where are all the crap games? There are actually a lot of crap games. I think possibly what you might have found, I mean, the best thing to do is load up MAME and you can go to year and go to like 1978. I think that's when Space Invaders came out. Go to 1978 and I'll guarantee you'll see a lot of games which I've never heard of. Now, the reason you've probably never heard of them is because they're pish. There's a lot of different versions of Space Invaders. I mean, I think Space Invaders was the original. Then there's a lot of like sort of copies and that kind of stuff came out. But yeah, there were a lot of crap games that came out. And what I'm guessing, this is my own particular opinion on it, could be talking complete nonsense. I think most of these games were released in Japan, and what you probably find was the games that proved to be popular were then released in the US and in Europe. So it could be that the reason we only see the good ones is because these are the only ones that were released. And the bad ones they never released. I mean, if you look at MAME now, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of games there are. You know, probably 5% I've actually heard of, and probably 2% of them I actually play. Yeah, I think what you'll find is actually some of the classic games, some of the games that we regard as classics like Space Invaders, Pac-Man. If you actually look at them now, you realise they're not that great. Certainly Pac-Man and Space Invaders, I get bored pretty quickly for actually playing them. So it's not to say they're not good games, but I think we probably give them more credit. We probably think of them as better games than they actually are. They were absolutely awesome. They were cutting edge back then, and if it wasn't for these machines, you know, these games, we wouldn't be playing them now. Playing the games that we've got now. They basically started the industry, but yeah, but I do think there was a lot more games that were released that were crap, and I think the good ones were the ones that we got to play, you know, because they were good. Obviously, they decided to release them in the US and in Europe. But and listen, guys, this thing is going to cut out, so I'm going to cut it short now. Listen, thank you very much to all the continued support I get. I really do appreciate it. I will be back with another Friday Waffle in a week's time. That'll be the last one of 2016. Thank you again, this is to all the support. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. And finally, guys, thank you very, very much for watching, and have a very, very Merry Christmas.